Counterplan, stare decisis, Viscount.
Yeah. Counterplan 7-1 $6 7 dedicated to those waves to the hours where past right life actually doesn't find them means to be able to find life as they're starting any point they want to define his life starting such as for the Counterplan text indicate that anytime somebody wants to get an abortion they would not be able to because the word indicates validity so that viability is point at which is compelling nature to the abortion of the Counterplan will allow to prevent anybody from getting an abortion on demand whatsoever means no abortion will leave for a Counterplan whatsoever this way and the ways we access the argument methodology argument for the moral argument also indicates that there are other forms of abortion that the airplane cannot address whatsoever because there are test tube babies who are going to be aborted in the world different plan and will different plan for the mother babies who are being who are fertilized in utero open to replace in utero who are also able to be aborted in the world different plan because they have the affect the way in which life begins and if I actually have the they not just question when life actually begins which only Counterplan do now to see number one debate they say they're trying to impact on the case in fact on the other because rights itself is banned which not touch those rights but the law of when they see shelf kids reply back to an anti-legal abortion when they instance while a dormant embassy was at the actual effect legal term role with these Supreme Court of New Act which is the reasons why granting and rights to tool police dealing what we can actually get the Supreme Court actually have to action in the long-term evidence to get comparative on this point in the Supreme Court not for reversal and Congress for the more to the Supreme Court would like against whenever stop the practice of unborn the right to live act is the only hope even over world prevent abortion protect IFB babies is Brandon 6 ALC and 5 population order of the good civil religion the Constitution according to the forcible members and these business in the brother is the rule for which we stop because 10% population be affected cell the opportunity to let the worship of worship rules and law that movement around the central because we're not taking down to so like not consideration the babies and regarding the ways words of the errors wrong is when your kids with the same like we can say that everything because I made at the first moment sick conception unless according to the child from the like going to something respectful legal abortion Congress to go left the act rule by doing red law act that have no substance of the law and they depend on you make and furthermore they not seeing south for their way and which rights is tied to the rights side of abortion since war rights side of abortion like the pro-life movement calls themselves the rights of life movement because they're trying to say that the right left is there furthermore they can Counterplan itself depends upon things that get particularly close to the 14th Amendment that'd be the way in which the Supreme Court would be able to justify things like the grant of the decision in the real world if you were to get in front of a plan there's no way they can avoid tying it to rights because they would say the 14th Amendment is the way in which we allow to give you protection to things like unborn babies now choice number 2 acting in the state the rationalism we sweep not whatsoever there's no warrant as to why the Counterplan itself is able to create the same solution remember we take part in the same universal truth the same truth that the one tries to put forward there's one kind of wrapping the framework the only way that they can prove a decision is rather the only for decisions they prove the wrapping the plan the Counterplan the way in which we divert from the framework is when they read if they were to read evidence and keep the court itself key will be their court good offense now choice number 3 they say Mr. Passage is going to be key so there's a way is going to be key that's why the court assume that the Counterplan itself is just need for the Counterplan text to the new world our Counterplan here supporting the Mr. Passage being validated from the case just not part of the Counterplan text that was part of the Counterplan text but read there's a reason why the Mr. Passage can only be over West Supreme Court Congress can pass a law saying that the Mr. Passage is something we should not evaluate furthermore the world congressional law that would pass the right to life act then world congressional law pass the right to life act doesn't mean Mr. Passage even be relevant to the debate the story that we tell will be the newest story which is the newest story which is the Counterplan because it's the most recent law furthermore we see number 4 and 5 in the legality debate at the very top of the debate even if the right to life act is deemed constitutional for doom evidence and you get the Congress ability to determine when life begins so even the act is struck down once it's determined life begins exceptional abortion began regardless of court action furthermore the Supreme Court as we say the world is pertinent right decision bro that person's established for so be breaking by 43 minutes what the right to life act does is a free Republican 6 the Supreme Court would not be resolved the which that begins to point development man's not position right in the answer why God can make him mission the person is out of the course where the cops fees right life can't live for the second with the right to do the relation with the equal protection 40 the right to life being straight and free unborn human trying to person like fertilization and the other woman that the individual to me for like making makes right to life leaving by worship constitution of men right to life by things well at the one of the legislation covered based on the person who one because we need to this of our constitutional president more furthermore there is no link to the legal court that the mayor constitutional court the reading does not talk about court decision not talk about it talks about overturning court decision that is not what the Counterplan does all Counterplan does have Congress pass legislation that here's the Supreme Court decision that grants let's go and even the Congress on even the court checks on the right to life act in terms that life begins to black Congress with the authority of the court of matters of abortion and it prevents any state from enacting laws suitable abortion to make that as an six constitution that reaches with the Fifth Amendment says to the person to deprive life due process of law from the president to provide the parents to find the living the common intention abortion would be murder and every sanction in the law cost of 40 members of the Congress of the political legislature every independent political constitution the two rest life begins to promote the decree that constitutional being constitutional Congress really act according to Article 3 section of the Constitution limit coverage or jurisdiction of the abortion related matters so right to life act find the exception and this car action land and back any risk of the court checking down the bill so in case the rule of the Congress court trying to straight down the Congress will simply respond by using section 2 to limit the ability for restriction of abortion relations something they can do another right to life act now 2 easy number 6 is argument that the court itself is key they say legality is important this argument about the stories we tell being key to law arguments that law Congress should their evidence having a distinction between the way in which a court makes law and the way in which Congress makes law they read evidence that is in context of the court however this evidence can be put in the context of Congress so it makes sense the argument means that the law itself creates norms for society and we follow these norms there's no reason that the Supreme Court uniquely is the only norm making body in the United States the Congress can also pass laws so we'll be able to do something the Congress would pass a law saying the right to life back then, that means there would be 60 votes in Congress at least, which is one of the reasons that we would be able to say the entire nation people agree with this. This is the supreme truth that we of the United States should be adhering to. There's no reasons why they cannot do we cannot do we they can do legal practice we can't. Furthermore, they say permutation to both believe to the benefit. I'll be going for this kind now. So this is to say. We'll continue to several one in the urban imperial and there's also moved out from offense on I support being read for news from was of the discus of the democracy fact and turn next and the body where they express rationally make the rods and that will know Court, the building consistent for business court, and important distinction are links up from the corporate section laws particularly happens before any other benefits are incorporated by the plan. These are all points of rule advantage, links for suit rules and that's laws business conference retain the goal. Let's say the company council now terms of the legal rights in section 2 and 1 they see the link down that's already section and then it's not a reverse causal, but that's not true whatsoever to be sent across the order to 5 part from the 1 and C indicating to make some important arguments for said business account there are justice who pragmatic keep regime court because the resolution for related second of business received from the court that will act just the way they want to. They think the court of the political system more important than business outcomes of individual citizens. Usually margin sometimes like the plan and free out business because they will shadow the corresponding rights being critical here. Package for ability is key to repel investments also in the five. So there's real judge like make ability of the lawyers in one direction, the purchase purpose and business like from the legal function control legal and soon hand business planning, support business can arrange capital less than pretty that is pro business and the finish time 60 card. The current term is key in the future of business card in relation to you can send that card. It's key in relation to the benefits court is not the transportation. Roberts has already spoken for business interests by expanding the philosophy of judicial restraint. The court moves away from the truly now. There's no chance of providing these confidence. His arguments, key kickings are linked outweigh any overrule based arguments they can provide because business will perceive good economic outcomes of the plan. But furthermore, because the decision was ruled actually that's not the one I want. But Sarah says to keep certain laws, which becomes possible. This is friends in four. The people are going to study separate people in the institution, people have the funding and the first one expectation of initiative, fresh college parts and order behavior, producing business, certain practical release of value, a court change, a procedure rule, least value, court change, a request, secondly, court change, regular work, one part, such a way, and cross by the consequent corporate reading in the following indicating that, the self-corporate reading in the following indicating that case is the basis of Sarah says the most robust example. We can deal with this. Now, they say that sandbagging natural words over the go from the factories and why I understand why I should be really participate naturally, and they say internal is going to be collapsed, there's internal collapse, not true whatsoever, companies keep growth is women into. The balance partly comes from the face of the no growing global cloud, and becomes the perspective relations where I can growth going forward, and what people do about the reason why the present time, because the birth for from the 1 and C indicates that the only reason the capital system is survived and the only reason companies can grow is people have hope in the economy. This is something that has only in the world of counterpoint, because think about the economy, the only world of counterpoint is falling itself for trigger a lack of hope because people start to move themselves away from the economy. Because when they come from the economy, this is reasons why they're turning like that. They say tax and public relations happen, and then says, oh, natural stuff, you have no cars for wars, we want to see evidence indicating that even if these things happen in the status quo, there's a bad economic forecast, businesses will still be confident because they are riding the backs of large amounts of consumer spending. Consumer spending is not necessarily been affected by environmental regulations, tax rewards. Now, choice in the this is non-terminally computer, not sure whatsoever. This is the non-terminally computer, US account growth rates, global account growth, discussed in 2006. I haven't looked at the United States overall before first consumption, north of the world, because something built to next fast forward, you people live in our consumer growth, consumption growth, key fact behind chance around the growth. And they say appearance and distinction, yes, it does indicate the biosphere we totally straight, there's no biosphere, we cannot breathe, that is the end of all of us. So we no longer have a conception of God whatsoever because we have no way to formulate truth and where everybody is dead and nobody is able to think anything whatsoever. We're not able to puzzle ourselves with better fixes. Now, choosing the pride, they said, well, it should not be everything that we regard to, but this is what you can say, Professor Isaac Carver, reading the following king, that if you do not do things that try to preserve some amount of life, then you become a poor decision maker as well, and you fall in the same trap of people you trying to criticize when you say that, look, you should not do bad things, you should believe in this sort of supreme truth, the one that I believe in, you become just from like them when you say, furthermore, the world people will suffer as well, people will lose faith in things like God, and the truth they believe in because people will be burned, and they'll have their skin melted off bodies. Now, choosing number 66, teaching of Hall, they say, we took back into Hall, that's probably justifies excluding some people not sure whatsoever, our argument in the one in the good again, it indicates the entire biosphere will be sure, which is all life on Earth, we don't exclude anything as not going to the world of this. Now, choosing number 7, they say that we die, lead superation, that prevent, and then we have this policy focus prevents them to get access to kingdom heaven, not sure whatsoever, there's no reason that they uniquely, or this happening in the world where they read the affirmative plan, they talk about the effects of the plan will be in the way in which it allows them to get closer to kingdom heaven, that is the same sort of policy focus, and same sort of focus on things that are ancillary to the actual idea of God and the kingdom of heaven, that they could prevent them getting heaven, then I don't understand why the counterplan is able to do the same thing different plan. Now, Biden, they say being first trans and the key counterplan stops the entire of this, because we are also ontology of unity.
In a world of the counterplan, a woman tries to get an abortion and she is denied that right to an abortion. Then she goes to a lower court and cites Casey as a reason that she should have the right to get an abortion. What will that court tell her?
The problem with that argument as to why people will get abortions is because the Casey decision does not remove the viability standard.
it just indicates the viability center should not be linked to the trimester framework. The viability center still exists, which came from Roe. If we determine that viability began at conception, then there would be no legal ground for anybody to ever abort a fetus.
What? The text of the Casey decision, the whole of the Casey decision says you have a right to an abortion, not just the upholding of that standard, but
Right, it
rather
doesn't
you
create a
can
positive,
kill
but Casey
that
does not
child.
create a positive right to an abortion ground in the Constitution. Casey does, however, indicate that the state has a compelling interest to prevent people from getting abortions if
Right.
life is
It
viable.
had some restriction on abortion, but overwhelmingly, it was that you have a right to an abortion. You can.
No, that's simply not true. There's no positive right to abortion in any of these decisions. It's just the argument that the state cannot prevent you from doing this until they believe that there's viable life involved. Like, there's no
No,
decision that says...
it's not. They have a compelling interest in protecting that right. So you change the compelling interest.
We have the compelling interest begin as soon as conception occurs.
Okay, furthermore, even if you could stop abortion, if somebody tried to get euthanasia after the counterplan and it was restricted, and they went to the court and used the mystery passage in Casey, which is what happened in the Ninth Circuit Court decision, what would the lower court say to them?
I'm not particularly sure, like, which evidence are you referring to for this?
That's what our 1AC is about, the right to define your own conflict of existence, what the counterplan text says you
Right.
don't have that right, but it's in the Casey decision.
I mean, our counterplan text indicates that that would also be invalidated by the...
How is it invalidated? They would go to a court and say, look, it's in the Casey decision, it was, the Supreme Court says I do have this right. What does the lower court tell them?
But,
They
I
say
mean-
Congress Act overrules that right granted you by the Supreme Court?
No, because the congressional legislation that is passed would determine that the state has a compelling interest to prevent people from being able to obtain...
No, I'm not talking about abortion. The 1AC is much broader than this small
Right.
instance of abortion, but rather this sweeping right. And if somebody tries to use it to get euthanasia, as happened in the Ninth Circuit decision, what do they tell them? They say,
I mean, if your 1AC evidence speaks to the fact that they would tell them that you can continue to give euthanasia to these lower courts...
that you continue to have the
we don't
standard of
have
liberty
evidence
that
that
the
speaks to this
1AC
question. Yes,
criticizes.
that's true. We don't have evidence that speaks to this question. I'm not sure what the argument, though, necessarily is. It just
That the
means that
whole
people
of the
obtain
1AC
euthanasia.
about
That's
the
the reason
sweeping-
that we can't get to... Is that the reason we can't get to ontology of unity?
Well, okay, all of the 1AC. But okay, I'll talk about this con. The only link evidence you have read is to overrule. There's no evidence about Casey or the mystery passage, correct?
Right.
Okay, does this mean that any overrule will have the same effect on business confidence?
An overrule that disregards stare decisis, yeah.
Any future overrule? Every overrule regards stare decisis because stare decisis is keeping a precedent.
No, because there are lower court decisions come to the Supreme Court, and they either remand them, they affirm them, or
Wait,
they
so
deny them.
any
There are
overrule that
many-
concerns stare decisis, why? Because that distorts credibility?
Right. That
Well,
prevents
you have
business
conceded on the
client-
stare decisis flow that no, stare decisis destroys court credibility, and only the 1AC is.
It's not court credibility, it's particularly implied. As long as
Well,
like, I mean, the court
but
doesn't
you
need to be
conceded that there's
credible.
literally no enforcement mechanism.
The court doesn't need to be credible for business to say, I know the law is going to be this in the future.